Namaste and welcome to Easy Breezy Life. First and foremost, I want to apologize to all of you for not being able to upload more regularly this month. I don't think I have shared this on my channel before, but I have a son who is almost 16 months old now, and he hadn't been keeping too well for the past couple of days. So I was obviously a little distracted and just not inspired enough to work on new content. But he's much better now, and I am back to filming. And I promise I will be more regular in uploading new videos now. I'm a 33-year-old doctor, and I hate to admit this, but I only started taking my skin seriously probably since the past 2 years. This video just entails my journey of how I learned about my skin, how I understood what my skin needs, and how I was able to build a skincare regime according to what my skin required. I'll share a few pointers with you which might help you in your journey to achieve the skin that you are comfortable in. Number one, your skin can change with season, age, time of the month, reproductive health, health in general, geographical location, and these are just a few factors that actually determine how your skin behaves. I got my first zit at the age of 19 when I moved from northern India to southern India to pursue MBBS. And the acne were few, probably one acne in a month, and they didn't leave any scars because obviously my skin was young and it could cope up with all the damage that was being done. As I moved back to northern India after completing my MBBS, I started getting acne which was much more painful. It was cystic in nature and it would leave scars. My skin has been through a lot just because I changed geographical locations. I have been able to utilize the right actives for my skin to control my acne. Number two, understand the needs of your skin and let your skin tell you what it actually needs. So over the years, my skin has changed from dry to combination and oily. You know how people say the way to find out whether your skin is dry or oily is how your skin feels once you've washed your face. If it feels stretchy after washing your face, then it is dry type, and if you don't feel like you need a moisturizer, it is oily. Well, I have combination to oily skin, and every time I wash my face, my skin does feel stretchy. So initially I thought that I had dry skin and I kept on layering moisturizers just based on that face wash test, and I kept getting clogged pores till I realized that I need to listen to my skin. My skin was desperately telling me with all those clogged pores that I do not need that much moisturizer. Your skin will send you signals that you need to pay attention to. That ways you will understand what your skin actually wants from you. Number three, prioritize your skin's needs. Once people have been able to identify what their skin requires, they rush into buying products because obviously they can't wait to start using those products and get rid of all those skin issues. But it's extremely important to prioritize the problem you want to address first. For example, acne and post-acne hyperpigmentation. There's really no point in aggressively trying to lighten those scars when you haven't really dealt with your acne. Also, using a spot treatment just to deal with active acne and not using a product that would work on your face as a whole to control appearance of future acne will be futile, and it just might leave you very frustrated. Number four, do not change your skincare regime drastically. Introduce products in a phasic manner, unless advised by a professional such as a dermatologist. It is extremely exciting to buy a bunch of new products that you have intensively researched about, read amazing reviews for, and that promises to transform your skin. But it's extremely important to remember that some products, despite having amazing ingredients and amazing reviews, just might not work for you. And if you introduce a lot of products together, then you won't be able to figure out which product is actually working for you and which is not. So, my suggestion is give a product around 7 to 10 days, not to see whether it is benefiting you or not. Because most of the products will take around 4 to 6 weeks or even longer to show a positive response on your skin. But these 10 days will definitely show you if your skin is reacting negatively towards any particular product. Of course, if you've been able to identify sooner that a product is not working for you, then obviously you should stop using the product immediately. But my advice would be use a product for around 10 days, then introduce another new product in your skincare regime. So I'll give you an example. I started using the Requil Vitamin C Face Toner and the Requil Skin Radiance Cream around 3 months back, and I started using these two products together. Within 3 days of using both the products, I realized I was getting these small red bumps on my skin. So I stopped using both the products immediately. After around a month, I started using the toner again, and I noticed that on the second day again I got similar small red bumps, and obviously I stopped using the toner. I gave a break of 2 weeks and then started using the Skin Radiance Cream. It did not clog my pores, it did not irritate my skin, no red bumps, nothing. So that ways I was able to figure out which product was not working for me. Number 5, make an effort to understand cosmetic labels and ingredients. What this does is it keeps your expectations reasonable with the product. And I can understand that you might not have the time to research every single ingredient or every single claim made by a brand. But that is where YouTube and blogs come in really handy. So make sure you look at enough reviews, not just on the website of the brand, but on other portals as well. Number 6, wash your face with a face wash, or if you're using a soap, for at least 1 minute. Ideally, somewhere between 1 to 2 minutes. For actives to work, they need to be in contact with your skin for an extended period of time. So a 30-second face rub will really not do anything. I have genuinely seen a change in my skin after I started following this. And this advice isn't something that I can take credit for. I heard other YouTubers and bloggers talk about it, and I thought I should try and inculcate this in my skincare regime. Number 7, acne-prone skin is not the same as sensitive skin. I cannot tell you how many times I have been told by people in salons who are giving me a facial that I have extremely sensitive skin because my skin gets clogged very easily. So there is a difference between acne prone skin and sensitive skin. Sensitive skin is a skin type that gets red, irritated, inflamed very easily, especially when it is exposed to perfumes and skincare or essential oils or just sun rays. The management of acne prone skin and sensitive skin is absolutely different. For example, acne prone skin is really benefited by using AHAs and BHAs, but sensitive skin should not be using these acids as they can actually harm the skin even further. So don't let anybody tell you what your skin is and what it needs. You are your best judge. Number 8, facial oils are not meant for everyone. I have personally tried Kumkumadi oil from two different reputed skincare brands, and both times they have clogged my pores badly. I ended up with whiteheads and cystic acne. It was really difficult to deal with. It doesn't matter how light or non greasy or how readily a facial oil will get absorbed into your skin. Just because it is working amazing on someone else's skin does not mean that you have to include it in your skincare routine. Number 9, use an eye cream not twice a day but thrice a day. If you're someone who uses an eye cream to deal with dryness around the eyes or dark circles, you might be benefited more if you start using your eye cream 3 times a day. I started doing this for the past 4 months, and I have definitely seen an improvement in at least the dryness around my eyes. Yeah, it's a trick that just might work for you. Number 10, let your serum rest on your face for at least a minute before layering it with any other product. It would be better if you could give it like 5 minutes, but a minimum of 1 minute before using anything else. What this does is it allows the serum to get absorbed into your skin without getting diluted with another product. Number 11, always top a serum with a moisturizer, no matter how hydrating a serum is. But again, if using a moisturizer on top of your serum makes your skin feel heavy, then yeah, maybe skip the moisturizer. As I said, let your skin tell you what it needs, and don't let anybody else tell you. So I have been using this Neemly vitamin C serum for quite some time now, and although I love it, but I always feel that it leaves my skin just a little bit sticky. And when I top it up with my moisturizer, right now I'm using this Pond's Super Light Gel. It just settles down that stickiness completely. Another reason why I'm suggesting this to you is because I was using this hyaluronic acid emulsion by It's Skin, and although I did love it, the problem was that whenever I applied it, I just felt like this serum was hydrating enough on my skin, but in the next 2 hours I would feel my skin getting really dry. So in the end I had to top it up with a moisturizer, even though it felt really hydrating initially. Number 12, do not avoid your ears, hairline, jawline, or the neck whenever using a skincare product, be it a face wash or a serum or a moisturizer or a sunscreen. Number 13, keep a few products on your nightstand, such as a hand cream or a foot cream or a nail cuticle oil. They come in really handy on those nights when you just don't want to get out of the blanket for an extended skincare routine. And another thing, be very careful when selecting the packaging of the products that you decide to keep on your nightstand. This may seem very funny or even stupid to you, but this is a genuine practical problem, okay? So my son's crib is in our bedroom. He's a very light sleeper, like he gets up with the slightest of noise. I had a foot cream that used to open like this, like a tuck, and every time I wanted to use that foot cream, I was so scared that the noise would wake him up that I finally had to squeeze out all the cream into a tub that I could just put a lid on easily without making any noise. So maybe a few moms might be able to relate with me, but be careful of the packaging that you're buying. Number 14, be mindful of what you're putting around your eyes. I don't know if everybody does this or not. When I am applying a product, I close my eyes and just run my hands over my eyes as well, so the product gets on my eyelids. But the problem here is that certain products should not be used around the eyes, such as a retinol cream. Certain face washes, such as an AHA face wash, the skin around our eyes is very sensitive, and it's thinner than the rest of the face, so it's very easy to dry out the under eye area. And obviously, using something around your eyes always carries the risk of the product stinging your eyes. Read the directions whether you should keep the product away from your eyes, if you should wash your eyes immediately if the product gets into your eyes. Number 15, and the last one, be aware that brands make tall claims. No surprises there. If a product has an ingredient in a concentration of, let's say, X%, the brand will probably claim that it can perform all the functions that it would have performed at A%, B%, C%, right up to Z%. An example is 2% salicylic acid that is frequently found in cosmetic products. 2% salicylic acid is an effective anti-acne agent. But I have seen that products with 2% salicylic acids also claim that they can remove those fine lines and wrinkles. A 2% salicylic acid does not go deep enough and is not effective enough to be able to do such a drastic thing. So brands do this very frequently. They try and twist words to make them appeal to you, to make you believe that their product is far more superior than what it is. So be careful with that. Again, do a little bit of research, look at honest reviews, and I guess you will be fine then. All right, that was a long list of what I have learned in the last 2 years, definitely. But I really hope something out of these 15 points help you in some way. Let me know in the comment section if it does. I hope you like the video. Share it with people who you think might be benefited by these pointers. I'll be back really soon with another video. Till then, stay happy, stay healthy.